The next live Q&A episode for the Slightly Serious Sign podcast is going to be January 19th for our 100th episode, and we want you to submit your questions. So go to wensco.com/Q&A and submit your questions. You can submit them like text like you did before, but now there's a section where you can submit an audio question. So record your questions, send them in, and we'll play them live on air for the podcast January 19th. And we want you there, and we want your questions. So join us January 19th by submitting your questions, wensco.com/Q&A. This episode is brought to you by Arlon Graphics, trusted for innovative high-performance cast vinyls. Check out their newest product, DPF V9500, a non-PVC polyurethane wall film built to tackle ultra-textured surfaces like a pro. More exciting new products to come soon from Arlon. Check them all out at Wensco.com.
You know, at the show, these people came up to me and said, "You do look like that." And I kind of went, "Look like what?" "Your video." I went, "What?" As he's leaving, I said, "You better run." He's running through the door. I'm like, "You son of a..."
It was a good rendering. Chet did a good job, I think.
No, I don't think so.
From Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's the Slightly Serious Sign Podcast, starring Mike Hall, with his co-host Tyler Hall, and their sometime sidekick, Domingo Tobar. We invite you to join the show with today's relevant sign industry guest. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Mikey. Hey-o!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 96 of the Slightly Serious Sign podcast. My name is Tyler. If you didn't know this is my co-host, Domingo Tobar, like to the bar.
We go.
I'm introducing our names because today we had our demo day and some lady came through the door and said, "Hey, podcast guy." And I was like, "Hey, thanks for watching." She's like, "Yeah, I have no idea what your name is though." And I thought, I probably don't introduce myself on here. And so I'm not surprised that you don't know what my name is. So anyways, my name's Tyler. This is Domingo. The other one that's not here obviously doesn't matter as much, but his name was in the intro music. So that's Mikey. But we got a guest. We're on a streak now of equipment guests here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed last week's HP video. We had a great time going down there. If you haven't seen them, we're probably going to have some 2-Minute Tuesdays coming out pretty soon here, assuming the audio and video looks good, because we still haven't looked through it to this date. So
there was a lot of videos that we did down there, and I'll tell you again, I cannot. Their facility is phenomenal. I mean, it is well laid out. I mean, they do a tremendous job with having all those machines. The only question that I have, and that we discussed, and we looked at each other, we kind of went, "What's the power bill going to be for this monthly for all these machines?" All you see is just, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. The thing I did want to say to start before we introduce our guest here is one, Merry Christmas. It's the week of Christmas if you're hearing this live. So hopefully you guys have a good Christmas. Hopefully you got some time off. We got to work all the way through. We're no quitters here, except for Domingo.
Hopefully you have great time with your families, good gatherings. Yes, there will be drama. I know. So am I talking about my family side?
Yeah, we're talking about you. If you want to get a present for us here at Wensco, two things. One, rate and review the podcast. A few of you have done this recently, so we appreciate you. And then I also should have mentioned that if you want to rate whatever Wensco location that you buy from on Google, we would appreciate it. So
good point.
We've gotten a lot of those lately as well. All 5 stars. People love us, so we just delete the 1-star ones, so it's fine. I'm just kidding. They don't let you do that anyways. But no, we appreciate you guys. And hopefully you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you before New Year, but Happy New Year, I guess. Wait, will we see them?
No.
When's New Year's?
It'll be the following.
Yeah, but what day? This comes out the 1st? The 29th. So the next one would be... Domingo, you can leave now. Just go to the bar. Anyways, I'll introduce our guest now. So, I'll kind of let him do his intro, but Brad Summa, thanks for coming to join us here.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you coming. Do you want to just introduce who you are, where you're from, where you work, obviously, and how long you've been there?
And what your current role is.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you guys for having me on. This is a great experience to be a part of. So I am Brad Bies. I am the sales representative for Summa, specializing in our roll cutter products that we sell through Wensco. So I was here today for the demo day, so I decided to jump in on the podcast and So I work out of the Indianapolis location. That's our headquarters for Summa in America. Our international headquarters is in Belgium. So that is where all of our machines are manufactured, assembled, and then, well, not assembled, but manufactured, sent over here to America. And then that's where we ship out of is our Indianapolis location.
Okay.
Perfect. How long have you been at Summa then?
I've been working for Summa for about 11 months almost now.
Ooh, newbie.
Yeah, so I started in February of this year. So we're going on 1 year almost now.
Where'd you come from? Where'd you come from before that?
I was actually in the tech industry. I was selling cybersecurity for a company called CDW. So I'm completely new to the industry, completely new to all the products. But yeah, it's been nothing short of great. Meeting all these new people. The industry has been very, very receptive, and it's awesome.
Yeah, they dumped you right in because I've seen you at. I think I've seen you at 2 or 3 shows now.
Yeah.
Did you do ISA in April?
Yeah, I did ISA.
Which would have been what, like your 3rd month there?
Yeah. Yeah. I actually,
really
my
nice.
first show was actually, I think 2nd week on the job. We went down to Orlando for the ATSA show, the traffic. The traffic show. Yeah. We were showcasing some of our products there. So jumped right in, and we've been on the ship ever since.
It is I think in my opinion, the fastest and maybe not easiest, but definitely the quickest and most efficient way to learn a product is to do the shows, because you get put in front of all the customers. They ask you 1,000,000,001 questions, and you have to know the answers on the spot, right? So you'll just get asked probably the same 27 questions over and over again, but then just the most oddball 400 other questions. You'd be like, can it do this very specific thing? And you're like, let me find out, So can I cut this very specific? They brought the sample with them. They're like, can it cut this titanium glass that I have here? And you're like, I don't know. Let me, you want to test it? I don't know what to tell you. So, I think it's a great way to learn, but, do you want to explain, kind of what Summa makes and, kind of what makes it different, I guess, in the shortest way possible, because we'll get into some of the details on that. But
yeah, for sure. So we are only in the cutting industry. So some people, when they come to Summa, they are asking about printers. So that is one thing to kind of clear up. Summa is strictly focused on cutting. We only make cutting machines. Summa actually used to make printers a while back. So that is kind of where the mix-up comes in. But yeah, strictly cutters. So we do have 2 different lines of roll cutters. We have our S1 series and our S3 series roll cutters. And then we have, flatbed cutters and laser cutters as well. So we get into, cutting different flatbed applications all the way into the laser applications. So I would say our flatbeds are a very big hit, as well as our roll cutters. I don't get super involved with the flatbeds and the lasers, as I'm strictly focused on the roll cutters. But yeah, it's a full fleet of different kinds of cutting machines meant for different applications.
Well, I was going to say is that, when he was talking about being 11, thrown in, right? I was going to say, well, now that you're in here, you ain't getting out.
That's what they told me. That's what they told me on day one. There's no leaving.
So my question to you is, have they sent you to Belgium?
I have not gone yet, no.
Why have you not sent them over there? Right? I'm trying to get you a trip.
Yeah. There's been plenty of discussions about that, and I keep begging them to, hey, I really want to go.
You got to learn. You got to learn the product from.
So I think it's something that's coming up on the docket for next year. But
okay, good.
I keep pushing them. I do. Good. I do.
All right.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Just let us know when you're going.
Oh, yeah.
So
if you need a companion,
okay,
we'll wait for our tickets in the mail. Yeah,
for sure.
We're gonna need a few days though. I mean, I don't know how many days the tour is. Just add another couple, 2 or 3 though for us. It's be appreciated. So
I'll make sure that's noted.
Thank you. So on the roll cutters, what's the difference between the 2 series of cutters that you guys have?
Yeah, so our S1 is in my opinion, it's more kind of an entry level cutter. So when I say entry level, maybe customers just getting into, the market of opening a sign shop or doing stickers or stuff like that. But it also is used for customers that are not mainly needing the cutter every day, 8 hours a day. So the cutter is mainly meant for, hey, maybe a few hours a day, every day of the week, versus our S3 line, which is going to be more higher production. The cutter's made to be run 8-10 hours a day, 7 days a week, if need be. And then that just kind of comes into the play with the longevity standpoint of the cutter. I'm not saying you can't run an S1 cutter that as often as the S3. It just might not last as long as the S3 does. And then, just the differences being the S1 is going to be only available in the drag knife, whereas the S3 models, we have different options of, the knife types and the knife heads.
So you talk about the difference between the different knife heads. So drag knife is pretty standard, pretty much across the board. When you're dealing with most cutters, print and cut devices are, I don't know a single print and cut device, right, that isn't using a drag knife. So it's pretty common. That's what most people would know. What are the other options out there that people aren't seeing in some of those devices?
Yeah. So on the S3 model, we have our tangential series, and we also have our TC, which is tangential with an Oppos cam. So the tangential series is going to be the tangential knife, which is mainly found on flatbed cutters, right? Tangential modules, stuff like that. So we took that technology, brought it into the roll cutter, and it's been a huge success for customers all around the world, essentially. Being able to have that technology on a roll cutter, getting the results that they need, whether it's a sharp corner, cutting small intricate designs, or just, having a perfect edge rather than a round edge. Those are kind of the benefits and the needs of those customers when they get the tangential cutter. And then we have the TC cutter, which is going to be the tangential knife with the Oppos cam. So we actually have a roll cutter that has a camera for faster registration mark reading, also helps with reading the registration marks on tougher to read materials, whether it's reflective, holographic, any material that'll shoot the sensor light back into the sensor, and then they can't read it. Yeah, so that's a benefit for customers that are doing those tougher to read materials. And on top of it, even if customers aren't doing those hard to read materials, but maybe they need to increase their speed outside of just the cutting. How fast the TC unit reads those marks is extraordinary. How it can increase your speed outside of just the knife cutting the material.
So we'll talk about the scanner too, because I think that's interesting and something that's different. But to start with, the tangential head, where do you see when you're doing these shows, right, and someone's trying to decide between S1 and S3? That's probably one of the main things that I assume they're dealing with is like, do we want to only have drag or do we want to have the option? What do you see as the reason people are moving from a traditional drag to a tangential head, or what do you think what are they needing that they would even need the head?
Is it like thicker material that they're cutting, and that's the reason why they want a tangential head versus a swivel? Or
yeah, I mean, those are both good points. It's definitely one of the factors is thickness. It could be. So on our drag knives, you're going to get up to about 0.8 millimeters of thickness, where on a tangential, you can get about 1.25 millimeter. Mm-hmm. Also with the tangential knife, you're going to get up to 1,000 grams of downforce. So it's going to be, plenty of downforce for whatever material that you're needing to cut. And then I would say the main reasons why people would look to switch or are switching would just be, I'm doing small letters and my drag knife isn't working well with it. Oh, well, check out this tangential knife and cut a small letter, and then they see the result immediately and they're like, oh, I need that right now. So I think it's a lot of the intricate stuff, right? Cutting squares or circle stickers or anything like that. I think a drag knife is just as successful as a tangential. But when it gets into those smaller intricate designs or anything that has, some sort of tiny little nook in it, that's where the tangential will stand out.
I actually had a call back in my day where a customer was trying to cut reflective, and that it would not work. And try to do this over the phone. When you're trying to help somebody, you're like, I'm not there. You're my hands. Explain to me what you're doing step by step, right? You want to know what they're doing.
Right.
Is it falling on carpet? Is it discharging static? What's the environment?
Yeah.
So as I found out, they were directly above the light. So the light was reflecting. When you said reflecting, that was immediately I popped up and I go, God, I remember that story. I actually I had them take a photograph of what they were doing, the environment, and they sent it to me, and I go, how close is that light there? It's right above. We can't see what we're doing. I said, do me a favor. Let's just move it off to the side. Work like a charm.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that's the problem. Well, we want it under the light so we could see. It's like, when it comes to reflective, don't put it under the light.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like the amount of different applications that you see out there is where like a lot of the time, right, the standard signage that you're dealing with, the tangential head is probably like, yeah, it's cool, but am I going to need it? But there's some applications where they would say that, right? They'd be like, oh yeah, this is working. But then when you got into their workflow, you'd be like, well, you're like having all of these workarounds, or you're throwing stuff away, right? Because every third cut, you're like, that corner doesn't quite look like it's supposed to. But we're like, yeah, it always does that. We hear that all the time, right? Yeah, it always does that. Be like, well, it's not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? So I just find it interesting to see what other people are doing. I mean, we had 2 government counties here at the demo day today, right, that are doing signage for roads, right? So it's a lot of reflective material. That just does not traditionally want to cut super well on a drag knife, a lot of the times at least. And especially if you're trying to do anything that isn't straight lines, right? When they're trying to do squares, they're probably getting away with it. Yep. But if you're trying to do anything else with it, it's just a struggle that we've seen for sure in the past. But so when you're dealing with a customer who traditionally has used a drag knife and they're coming in, what do you see as some of the signs where you're like, yeah, you need to upgrade from maybe an older unit or a print cut device to one of the newer models?
I would say first things first would just be their, level of production. If they're, a lot of times we do have customers that are on the print and cut machines and they're like, oh, like I'm trying to do 10,000 stickers a day. And it's like, well, you're never going to get there because your printer needs to keep printing and your cutter needs to keep cutting. So I would say those customers, every shop, in my opinion, needs to have a printer and a cutter. It's very, very difficult unless you're on low production to be able to have the same machine doing both of those functions. And then just from, getting them from maybe the drag knife into the tangential knife would just be maybe you're doing a lot of circle stickers and stuff like that, but then every once in a while you have this customer that's doing very small lettering, or they need a banner that has very small weeding stuff, weeding out of the material, stuff like that. Those are the customers where it's like, hey, maybe you need the drag knife for 95% of your workflow, but when it comes down to this other 5, you'd rather have it than not. And it's one of those things where it's not like, oh, I can take this knife out, the drag knife out, and pop a tangential knife in. No, it's the mechanism of the knife head as a whole. So you either have the drag or you have the tangential. So if there's any thought in your mind of needing the tangential, I always would say go for that.
Go for it.
I have definitely seen a decent amount of people online talking about using a Summa with the tangential, where when I look at their business, I think they don't seem like somebody who needs it, if that makes sense. But when you talk to them about it as someone who came from a drag knife into this head, they love it, right? And it's just from what we see, at least, right, all of the ways that it's good, right, for small letters, for thicker material. But it feels like from people that are just like everyday use, they're just like, I just have less issues. The cuts look cleaner. Everything is just smoother than it was when I had a drag knife, which would make sense based on how it works, right? Mm-hmm. So I just find that interesting where sometimes it's like, okay, all the use cases where you would force someone be like, yes, you need to use it. There's a bunch of people that are just like, this just is a better working version of that. I mean, it's similar to like lamination, right? Like most people could probably use the base laminator, right? They'll work the same for the most part, right? But there's just an ease of use, speed, and reliability of upgrading and quality of laminator, which I think is what a lot of these, like I see it a lot in like the wrap shops where it's like, you guys are doing like 2-inch letters, right? There's no reason this is necessary, but they're like, yeah, everything just looks way cleaner when we do this way. It's like, okay, sweet. So,
well, we tell the same story, when customers look at a printer, a laminator, plotter, or whatever, they don't look ahead. They look at what can I afford, price, and what options does it have? No, I'm never going to need that option. But yet, next week, I should have got that. Yep. I should have got that. It just happens. Yeah. And it's like you should just upgrade just go to the product. That way you can always go back. Yep. But you can't go forward. So
yeah, and you bring up a good point about like how a customer might have something and it always does that, or some, they're saying how, it's doing this or it's doing that, but it really shouldn't. And today I was talking with a customer and he was asking me, does the tangential knife is so much faster than a drag knife. And I was like, well, actually, if you set them the same speed, the tangential is going to be just a little bit slower, right? Because it has to lift out the material, go back in. The movement of the knife is very, very quick. But overall, the drag knife will beat it by this much just because it's staying in the material the entire time. Right. Then he goes, yeah, but if I don't have issues with the tangential knife, but I have issues with the drag knife, I'd rather have it be slower. Yeah. And I was like, well, yeah, there you go. There's your selling point.
Yeah. That's funny. Because so it's funny because the question I was going to ask is like, is there a time where having a drag knife would be more beneficial than having a tangential? That's the question we get, is like, okay, cool, I understand it, but is there a time? And the only thing, I mean, you can answer this too in a second, but the only thing we ever come up with is like, well, technically it's faster, right? Because it doesn't have to move in and out, right? So it just does the thing. But also, like from what we've seen and when we've tested it, is like, I think I can actually run the blade faster on a tangential and get away with it, because if I speed it up, and I'm sure if you guys are familiar with any print cut device specifically, but even some of the other plotters out there, if you crank that speed up and then you run your test cut, whatever 2 shapes they cut out, because they all cut out different ones, you'll notice where the square corners start getting more and more rounded the faster you go, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about like, well, technically it's slower, be like, well, I can run it faster than the drag knife because it will actually make that corner cut, versus if I keep speeding up the drag knife, at some point it just stops doing what you want it to do entirely. So sorry to interrupt you guys, but I just want to take a minute to talk about Nakusa, the name behind R-Tape. R-Tape's the #1 application tape out there, but they are more than just tape now. Nakusa has a full range of products out there. Their new one is called NextBond. This is a UV cured adhesive. Why does that matter? It's an eco-friendly and durable option, but comparable to most of the eco-friendly options, this is a cost-effective product. So if you're looking for an eco-friendly product or a durable product, or just in general a good vinyl, NextBond is going to be the one for you. This is available at Wensco.com, as well as all of their other products. So check it out at Wensco, or reach out if you have any questions. Oh, and don't forget to use your Nakusa bucks. Have you heard about Metamark? Metamark is a company that sells premium graphic solutions for commercial and fleet signage. So whether that's walls, or it's vehicles, or it's tables or doors, we loved it so much we put it all over the podcast studio. So you can check it out on our videos or at Wensco.com. So the other one, so we kind of gone through tangential and all of that stuff. The thing I just saw, we were just going through before I came in here, that I'm not super familiar with, so I'll give you a chance to answer this. But what does the software look like that it runs on? And kind of how does it differ from some of the other options that are out there? Yeah, so at Summa, we have our own in-house created software. So it's called Summa Go Sign. It's completely free to download. It's on our website. And it is very easy to use. I would say that's kind of one of the differences between some of the other ones out there. But I would say the most beneficial thing is that it's made for the product. Whereas, if customers are using like a RIP software cut server or a completely different cut software, it's more generic for many, many different brands. Whereas our cut software is strictly Summa, and the Go Sign is strictly for the roll cutters. We have a completely different software for our laser machines and a completely different software for our flatbed machines. So it's strictly for the roll cutters, strictly for Summa. It's just a cut server. It's just a cutting software. You input your file. You can see how it comes in. If anything was rearranged or is wrong, you can change a few things in the cut software, which is nice, so that you don't have to go completely back to your design phase. And then, from there, you just output it to the cutter however you prefer. There's tons of different action sets in there that you can choose from, or creating your own action sets, whether it's you need the file to be rotated, or whether it's, I need the design of the file cleaned up. We have a cleanup feature, so it'll make sure that all your circles are connected, or if there's any double lines, it'll erase the double line so it's not double cutting. So there's plenty of different features in there to make it easy to use for your workflow. So I think it's very personalized in the sense that you can create it how you need it to work. But again, if there's customers out there that are used to using Onyx RIP software cut server, or Flexi or anything like that, any of the servers that work with our cutter, then I would just suggest them to stay what you're used to. But I always suggest, hey, download the Go Sign, because if something happens with your RIP software, at least you can keep cutting. Is there a certain file imports that you can bring in, or it can open encapsulated PostScript? Is it Adobe Illustrator file? What files, when you do the software for Summa, is there a certain, it has to be this PDF, it has to be a certain, or it just brings in any of those? I mean,
I think if you had a file that the software didn't upload, it would be very rare. I don't know exactly off the top of my head all the different kinds, but I mean, you're looking at DXF, OXF,
Right.
PLT,
Yeah.
PDF,
PLT?
SVG,
Gerber.
They're in.
So
I knew that would come back.
So it came up today. I summoned the first, because City of Wyoming was here.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, how's it going? And then I was like, did Domingo just come out? I didn't know who you met with, right?
Oh,
So I was like,
yeah.
and he's like, oh yeah, he came out here. It's like, yeah, talk about your Gerber. And be like, yeah, he might be the only person that knows how to run it. So he was the right guy to get out there. So anyways, it's funny. But yeah, I like literally when you were just doing it, we haven't gotten a lot of hands on with the Summa. We've been pretty busy the last couple months
and
here. So.
I would say like any other sort of software, right? There's always learning curves with software.
Yeah.
Just learning the ins and outs and how to run it. So there's definitely a learning curve there, but I would say you use it 4 or 5 times and then it's just going to be go.
Plug and play.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why anyone would need the double cut cleanup feature because I totally haven't done that 1,000 times. So it's probably not that important to most people. It's probably just me that does it. So, what does the workflow look like for print cut devices? Whether that's Roland, HP, Epson. Does Summa have their own like barcode system? Does it run off traditional crop marks? Kind of how does that work?
Yeah, so we have the Summa barcode, which is a fully automated system. So you print the barcode on your roll of material. Once you input the material into the cutter, it reads the first barcode. It'll then pull in the file into Go Sign. Then it'll just start cutting. Once it's done cutting that first job, the nice feature about Summa barcode system is it automatically starts looking for the next barcode. So if I have a full roll all printed with barcodes, it could be all different jobs too. I pretty much have to hit go and it's going to do the whole roll and I don't have to touch it at all.
So the barcode also contains the cut data then is what
correct. Yeah.
is the assumption.
So when in Go Sign, you would just tell the Go Sign when you're setting up your action set that, hey, all of my cut files are in this specific folder. So then when it reads the barcode, it'll go look into that folder.
Okay.
And then it'll pull in based on, the barcode number. It matches that to your file number and then it'll pull that data in. So it's a nice, seamless process for automation. And then it also eliminates the chance of sending the wrong data to the cutter because it's just matching up the barcode to the file number in your folder.
Does it also work off like traditional crop marks as well, or does it need the barcode?
Yeah, no, you don't have to have the barcode. We have plenty of customers out there that don't use the barcode. So that would be just our standard registration marks, which you can add, whether it's in your RIP software or if you're using like Illustrator or Corel Draw. We do have plugins for those applications as well. So you can add your registration marks during your design phase.
Are those dots or those crosshairs? Are they?
Yeah, we use square marks.
Square marks.
Yep. And then the nice thing about the Summa registration system is that it's not just going to be a square mark in each of the 4 corners of your artwork. Like if you have a 10-foot long job, you're probably going to have, a mark every foot. So you'll have like 10 X marks up each side. So it's keeping that alignment throughout the entirety of your whole length.
Okay. That's perfect because I know when we had a file that we were cutting and it was actually both. We were cutting stickers out of it and then we ended up running it out of a Colex. And the Colex couldn't do just the 4 marks. So the cutter was using the 4 marks and it worked fine, but the Colex wouldn't. And the Colex actually reads the same marks. So it was just literally like no, sorry, I can't figure it out for some reason. So we had to edit the file specifically to add more marks just for Colex, which was a whole ordeal. But that would make it easier, is what I'm saying.
We have a big project. Well, we have somewhat of another project that Tyler's working on that he's trying to figure out. That we kind of print our own alpha labels for our private label product.
Okay.
So he's trying to figure out whether he can
I tried my best. I tried my best and Domingo still complains about him. I was like, why do you do it this way? And let me fix it for you. And then I fix it and he's like,
this just doesn't
not very
work.
good.
Let's try the Summa.
Big complainer. So anyways, we're going to get it dialed in. So that's what I told him. I said, we're going to try and put this on Summa. I think we can get it to work.
I think we can. So we're going to try that.
Good.
So the other question I had is, we sometimes get the customers that are doing large fleets, and when I say that, I'm talking like 53-foot truck type work, right?
Yep.
So where they're cutting logos and they're just logos going on big old trucks. What is the feet that Summa would say, like, hey, at this feet we cut with whatever it is, 99% accuracy or whatever the number they wanted?
Yeah. So our tracking guarantees, our accuracy guarantees are 39 feet on an S3 and then 26 feet on an S1. And that's going to be for media less than 30 inches. And then the media larger than 30 inches, it's for both cutters, it's about 13 feet. And the reasoning that's our guarantee is just because every machine, once it's assembled in Belgium, we do a vinyl test, a tracking test to make sure that the machine is ready to go before we box it up and send it to a customer. And that's just the amount that we're feeding through. So that's not saying, hey, you have a 40-foot job, you're screwed after 13 feet. That's not what we're saying. That's just the guarantee we give. But the way we eliminate that is with our sorting and paneling features. So then you can take your 40-foot job and section it into 5-foot increments. And after every 5 feet, now my tracking guarantee is going to reset. So I can, if I have a 50-foot long job, I'm going to cut everything in the first 5 feet, and then it'll move on to the next 5 feet and the next 5 feet. Because, the tracking and the accuracy problems doesn't necessarily it's not necessarily stemming just because I have a super long job. It's because the material is going to come through 40 feet and then it's going to go back 40 feet. And then I'm assuming you probably have something over here that's also going to go back and forth. So you just put the material through 40 feet 5 times in a row. Well, that's the part that's causing it. So the least amount of back and forth of the material is going to, keep that guarantee, keep that accuracy on point. That's
what you need for your thing.
So another question that I would have is, does weight come into play on a roll? So basically, if I take a 2 mil vinyl 50-yard roll versus a 6 mil vinyl 50-yard roll, how does the plotter automatically know when it's pulling, or as it's tracking, know what that weight is, or does it compensate, or does it not, or?
The way it's fed is going to be the same, whether it's a 6 mil or a 2 mil. But yes, the weight could dictate on maybe a skew or something like that. And that is also a great feature of our S3 models is they all have, I call it a heavy duty roll support, but it's basically just a large roll support system. So it'll hold up to 100 pounds of material. So even if you have, laminated vinyl, or I know the reflective vinyl gets heavy, those heavier vinyls, they're not going to cause any issues, whether it's, the material falling off track or being pulled back and forth with whether it's heavier.
So this is a perfect example why I say, if you're going to start low, but you have heavy product, just go to the S3. These are some of the things that people don't think about.
Yeah.
But you have to think about those.
Yeah, even if you're not doing what you would say is heavy duty material. So a roll of Alpha 6 mil material is almost 80 pounds.
80 pounds. 78.
So you're thinking, oh, I'm just doing rolls of sticker material, right? Your roll of sticker material may be overweight on what a traditional cutter can hold. Like this is not technically a heavy duty reflective, 10, 12 mil product, but when you put 50 yards of 6 mil on a roll, the weight gets up there for sure. So something to be aware of. That's cool to hear on the paneling, because I know that can be an issue for some of the people doing the trucks where they're doing, just like the very simple design, right? But it's 43 feet of a 53-foot trailer.
Yeah. And the other thing that we have on our cutters is, so all of our cutters are going to come with the media flanges, right, to put your core holders on. And then they're going to have the media guides on the roll support. So it's not like, all of a sudden I went back 40 feet this way, 40 feet back, and now I'm 2 inches to the left because my media guides went left and right. The media guides are, in place, and then you set the roll on those so that it's staying on track back and forth as it goes.
Makes sense. Is there anything else that you think when someone comes to see one? So a good example of this, right? Someone shows up and they're interested in just the drag knife unit, right? And they go through all the stuff, right? They're not cutting anything small. They're not cutting anything heavy duty. Have you seen any customers that after seeing the tangential head move in that direction? And what is their reasoning when you see them like at a trade show or something like that, or even at the event we just did?
For wanting to, like, all they need is a drag knife, but they're like, oh,
yeah, you go through everything, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, everything in the book qualifies them like, oh, they're pretty entry level.
Right.
And then they still end up getting I say this coming from like, so a good example of this is like Roland, right? So they have a bunch of different units, right? The one we sell is not the entry level unit for the most part. And even when we'll bring someone in, right, and they would everything in the book is like, you need the entry level one, right?
Yeah.
You're not doing high colors, right? Your output is low, right? You're like, you only need CMYK. You don't need a lot of speed. This is probably the best one for you. But also here's this one, right? That also 7 colors, looks nicer. And probably 9 out of 10 times they move up to the other one, right? And you're just like, you only needed this, but we sold you this one because that's what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
I'm saying, how does that happen for you guys frequently, where they come in and they're like, everything says they need the drag knife, and then they still end up getting the upgraded unit?
Oh, for sure. All the time, actually. I think obviously you're going to have the customers that they want it because they think it's cool.
Yeah.
And that's sure. Go if that's what you want because you think it's cool, then so be it. I'm happy to provide you that. But I think the biggest things are just, hey, I'm here right now, but my business goal is to be here in 2 years.
Perfect.
I don't want to spend $8,000 now and then in 2 years spend another 10. Why not just spend 10 now and I'll have it for the next 10 years, and then in 10 years I can see what the newest greatest thing is on the market and go from there. So I think those are the biggest ones. You also might have like I said earlier, the customer that's doing 95% drag knife stuff, and then just for that, maybe just one of their customers or 2 or 3 they need the tangential. So hey, just get the tangential and you can use it for everything else. And even if it's just, a simple square cut, and like you said, if I'm going too fast, now my square has a rounded edge. On a tangential, you eliminate that. So I think overall, it's just, you can get great results with a drag knife, but with a tangential, it just stands above and beyond what a drag knife can do.
You sure it's not the LED light that's on the plotter that
Let me tell you.
Earlier today during the show, a customer said, I heard that the tangential cutter does a disco show. And I said, yeah, it does. And they're like, can you do it? And I was like, yeah, I guess. So I turned the cutter off, put it in service mode, turned on the disco show, and they loved it. So, we get customers like that all the time. Oh man, I'm debating between your cutter and this one, but yours has a fancy light. And it's like, if that's your deciding factor,
dude,
then,
I told you. I saw it at the show.
So we were just making the joke this morning, right? I walked in and we're getting everything ready, right? So all the machines are getting set up to run, right? And there's just one that's beeping, and you're just like looking around the room like, which one of you is beeping at me, right? I'm like looking around. I was like, I have no idea which one it is, right? I'm just like, all the ones that have lights, they all look fine, right? And you're like, so you're going through, you're like, that one's fine, that one's fine, that one's fine. And then eventually you figure out like, oh, it's this one. And it's just like the media clamp wasn't down. It's like, hey, put the clamp down, guy. And but I was like, when I saw the Summa for the first time, I was like, oh, the light's cool. And I just thought like it had a light, like I was just thinking, yeah, it's just like a thing. And someone's like, oh yeah, it has lights for different things. And I was like,
green, blue.
Why did nobody think of this before? This is such a good idea. Like as soon as you look at the machine, like I always picture it like with us, right? Like like when you were at the printer or the computer, right?
Yeah.
And it's, 10 yards or so away from the cutter. Like sometimes when I'm running, like I was joking about this on the Roland, right? Where you're like, hit the print button, you look over, you're like, do you think it went to the printer? Like looking at it, you're like, did I put the clamp down? And you're like, I don't know. And then you walk over there, you're like, oh yeah, it's ready. It's gone. Assuming you don't have to do that. You just look at it, be like, yeah, cool lights on.
That's what happened. That's what happened. Because I was at the ISA show and you guys had it in the service mode, and I just kind of went, what the hell's that thing doing? Like, I walked over there going, what's going on, guy? She's like, oh, just doing a little service on it. And I went,
what's up with the light?
What's up with the light?
And it's funny too, because, light bar, the status light bar.
Yep.
It's an automation feature, right? So you can start your cutter, go work on something else, and it has 4 different colors. It's going to pop up green when it's running good. It's going to pop up blue when it's waiting for something. It's going to be red if an error happened, maybe it missed a registration mark, and then it's going to be like an orangish yellow color if you left your pinch wheels down for too long. But the funny thing is when you do the light show in the service mode, it comes up with like 4 other different colors that aren't even. It's like, where did that even come from? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they were like, I
was literally going to the plotter looking to say, what LEDs are these?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a great idea. I mean, just in general. Guys, before we leave today, I just wanted to ask you one quick question, and that is, what is a pirate's favorite application tape? R tape. R tape is the #1 application tape in the United States, and it comes with an RLA, which is a release liner adhesion, meaning it's going to stick to the liner. Even on cut graphics, if you roll it, it's not going to tunnel, wrinkle, or curl, or anything like that. So if you're looking for the best application tape for cut graphics out there, R tape RLA is for you, and you can get it at Wensco.com. Well, we're doing this 38 minutes, and we're in vacation mode for the podcast. We're trying to keep them nice and short here, so we don't get stuck editing all of them. But Brad, thanks for coming. We only have one final question.
Well, we have many questions.
Okay, let me ask this question, and then you can ask your question. Okay, the last important question. Well, yours is important. I'm not going to say it's not important because I think it's pretty important.
I think it is.
So, what do you think sets Summa apart from some of its competitors in the market?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think just the, how do I say it? The research and development and, input that goes all into our products stands above them. So we're making the best quality product that can be available to our customers, whether it's, making a cutter that will work longer than the competition, or it has more advanced technology than the competition. Our team, our research team, our project management team, they're all in on all of our products. And you can really see it when you see the cutter work against a competitor product. You can really see how it stands out above and beyond. I think 2 big things just overall with cutting that might stand out to customers. One being the tracking. I think Summa has great tracking. It's one of the, I would say, least common issues that we see when customers come in for help. And then on top of it, just the cutting quality. I know that a drag knife Summa versus a drag knife competition, they're both drag knives. But for some reason, to me, at least to my eyes, they come out a little bit differently. And then obviously the tangential, it's just going to stand out above and beyond, what any other roll cutter on the market's going to be able to output. So I would say those are the 2 biggest ones that stick out.
Perfect. Well, thanks for that. Domingo has very important.
Now we got personal questions now. Since we have to go personal here.
I told Rick I would keep this under 45, so you got 4.5 minutes to get through this.
Are you married? Do you have kids? Single man?
Yeah, so I am a single man. Like I said, live in Indianapolis.
I used to be.
Yeah, I am. I
don't know what that was supposed to mean.
I don't always say this, but because most people ask and then they're wild, but I'm only 24 years old. So people don't always, I look older than I am.
Yes, you do.
I won't say the year I was born in because then it really makes me sound like I'm a little kid, but you can do the math.
It doesn't start with 19.
No, so. It does not. It does not. It doesn't start with 19.
Well, that's awesome.
It doesn't end in a 0. So
that's all right.
Yeah. So I'm just over 2 years out of college.
Okay.
Good.
You're living the good life.
Yeah. So I used to live in Chicago, northern suburbs of Chicago, when I was at my previous job before I took on the role with Summa, and then now I moved down to Indianapolis. So,
all right. Well, we saw you at trade shows.
Yeah.
So the question is there a favorite?
You could just ask for Indy and Chicago because both of those are great options on this one. So we always ask, what's your favorite place to eat? And we always ask in the terms of people that travel.
You can't tell
people
why.
that travel for shows. We usually ask. But you also run two really good food markets. Chicago has some really good food, and Indy has some really good food.
Is there any hot spots that we need to go?
There's nothing better than Chicago food.
Oh boy, here we go.
There's nothing better. Nothing beats it. That was one of the reasons why I was like, oh man, I'm going to have to leave Chicago. Just because there's so many different cultures in Chicago.
Yep.
You know, whether you want the best Italian food, Mexican food, Indian food, you know, your Chinese food, you're going to get it. Indianapolis, it's not the same. They have plenty of good spots. Don't get me wrong. You know, there's a street. I don't know the name of it in Indianapolis, but there's like 7 or 8 steakhouses on that street, and they're all delicious. So if you're going to Indianapolis, you know, St. Elmo's or Harry and Izzy's, you know, try them out. They're all good. You're gonna have to get your wallet out, but it's worth a try.
There you go.
They're definitely not cheap.
I heard podcast is paying for.
Yeah, this
dinner?
episode is sponsored by
Oh,
St. Elmo's. It's a long drive. I'm not making the drive down. No, I agree. It's good. Indiana's food they're known for burgers and wings and steak.
pork tenderloin sandwiches. That's what the Hoosier pork tenderloin sandwich. And it comes out, and you know, they use just a regular hamburger bun, maybe this big, and then the pork tenderloin is the size of the plate. So that's what they do down there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Man, we need to try that.
It must be not good because no one has ever been like, you know where I need to go? Not one time has that ever come up. So
It's got to be better than the McRib. So
don't disrespect the McRib, okay? I'm just kidding. I don't like the McRib at all, but I know some people really like it. So anyways, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for
hopefully you guys
having me.
learned something about the Summa. If you have questions about it, obviously you can reach out to us or we can get you in touch as well. And thanks for coming on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next time. So goodbye.
see ya.